welcome to day 23 of Vlogmas. Y'all, remember how I said I was only going to do 7 days of Vlogmas, and here we are on day 23. I did not think I could do it, and look at me. I am super duper proud of myself. So that just proves that anything that you put your mind to, you are going to accomplish it. Word of encouragement for the day. So yes, today is Wednesday, December 23rd. And today I'm going to be wrapping some presents. Not going to be wrapping all of them tonight because some of the ones that we got for our son, me and my husband are going to wrap together. But I want to go ahead and get majority of my husband's out the way. So I'm not going to be actually showing the presents or the gifts because I know that my husband watches some of these videos, and this one in particular I'm sure he'll be watching. But anyway, I'm going to just be doing like a quick story time as I wrap some of the gifts. Like I said, I'm not going to wrap all of them on camera. I'm going to wrap some of them. But yeah, so that's what we're doing today. I'm going to be wrapping up some gifts because as you can see, we have 0 gifts under the tree. I'm getting ready to go ahead and get started so I can get finished at a decent time. It shouldn't take me that long. Like I said, I'm only going to wrap a few of his gifts on camera, but you won't see them, so he can't see them. But I'm going to be doing a quick story time, y'all. Whew, y'all. This story time is kind of funny, but it ain't funny because it was a serious situation. So yeah, I'll be back once I get all my stuff together because I got to get the wrapping paper, my scissors, some gift bags, some tape, and stuff like that. So I'll be back. Okay, y'all, so I have been hiding some of my husband's Christmas gifts and these H&M bags, as y'all can see. Let me turn this around. So, as you can see, I got some H&M bags right there. I got 2 of them that I've been hiding some of his Christmas stuff in because I just didn't want him to be trying to figure out what I got him. I want it to be a surprise. So, but yeah, I'm getting ready to start wrapping some of his gifts. Y'all, okay, so I think I'm gonna start. But anyway, okay, so how do I start? I've never done this before. I'm new to this story time. This is actually my second story time because I posted one about my NACA journey. But anyway, so back in 2013 is when this happened. Y'all, I almost went to jail. So we moved to Atlanta, my husband and I and our son. We moved to Atlanta in, was it August? September. We moved to Atlanta the first week in September of 2013. Prior to that, I think maybe 2 years before we moved to Atlanta, I was traveling and I received a speeding ticket. I'm not going to say how fast I was traveling, but if you have ever gotten a speeding ticket and then on top of the speeding ticket, you got a super speeder ticket, then you know how fast I must have been traveling or driving. So what happened was I was in a hurry to get home and I was just driving. I can't think, it was some part in Georgia and I can't remember what city or county it was, but I was traveling back home, and at that time we lived in Savannah, Georgia. So I was traveling back home, driving, just cruising away, and I had a rental car. So this was a Scion. It was a little 2-door Scion sports car, and that's when they was really popular back then, the Scions. I'm not saying they're not popular now, but I don't see them too often. But anyway, so I had one of those as my rental car. And when you have some kind of small sports car like that, you don't realize how fast you are driving. So I'm just driving, trying to get home, and I see the policeman sitting ducked off on the side of the road. And when I passed him, I was like, oh shoot. I went ahead, put on my flashers, and I just went ahead and pulled over. I didn't really start pulling over until I saw him pull off. When I saw him pull off from sitting on the side of the road, that's when I started to merge into the far left lane, and I put my flashes on because I'm like, this man coming for me. Like, he coming. And sure enough, he did. So, pulled over, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking through my rear view and my side mirror, and rolled down the window, and he came up to the window. First thing he said to me was, ma'am, do you have your driver license to be able to, I guess, prevent you from going to jail today? And I looked, I was like, yes. And that's the first thing he said to me. I mean, he didn't ask me, did I realize how fast I was going? He didn't ask me anything other than, do I have my driver license in order to prevent me from going to jail? So I gave him my driver license, and he came back. I'm missing something, y'all. Hold on. I bought some tissue paper from Dollar Tree not too long ago, and I had to go get it. So yeah, so basically I gave him my license, and he came back, of course, with the ticket, and I didn't know how much it was, because you know it takes like a week and a half to 2 weeks before you can find out how much the ticket costs. So he told me, he said, to, of course, slow down. And he also said that I could follow up with the courts or the office, wherever it was. Oh, it was in Camden County, Georgia. That's where it was at, Camden County. Now, if y'all are familiar with Camden County, Georgia, then you already know what time it is. I didn't know when it happened, but afterwards, then I knew. So anyways, he told me to follow up to see how much the ticket is. So I was like, okay. So I followed up about a week and a half later, and I found out that my ticket was it was like maybe like $600. And I was like, oh my God. So what they did was, they sent me the notice in the mail, and they said that I could go to court to, I guess, see if the judge would lower the amount. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to court. So never been to court for anything before, as far as, you know. So I went to court, not knowing what I was getting myself into. So I went to court, and it was like 10 other people in there. And so I'm sitting and I'm just waiting for them to call my name. And so next thing you know, they call my name. And so he looks over the paperwork as far as what was written up by the police officer. So as the judge is reviewing the paperwork written up by the police, that was written up by the police, he looks at me and he's like, ma'am, you better tell me that the devil was on your tracks, and that's the reason why you was going such and such miles per hour. And I looked and I was like, no, sir. He said, well, explain to me the reason why you was going such and such miles per hour. So I told him, I was like, well, sir, honestly, I was trying to hurry up and get home because, you know, my husband and I have a special needs son, and I needed to get home for a family emergency. Now, I didn't have a family emergency, but I had to do what I had to do to try to get that ticket lessened. than $600 something. So he was like, ma'am, do you understand that you could have prevented yourself from getting home for going such and such miles per hour? You could have gotten in serious trouble, or something serious could have happened. And I was like, I understand. So he was like, what we're going to do is we're going to put you on probation until you finish paying this ticket off. I was like, sir, I said, probation? He was like, yes, ma'am. We're going to put you on probation until you finish paying this ticket off. And I was like, yes, sir. And my husband's aunt went with me on this day. So I had my husband's aunt with me. She was so supportive. She passed away some years ago. But she went with me. And so she was telling me, she said, Tasha, when they say probation, they don't mean that they're going to put like an ankle monitor on you or anything like that. What they mean is they're going to put you like on a payment plan, and you're going to be making payments until it's paid off. But you don't have to stay in the house or anything like that. So when I went to talk to the clerk to set up everything, that's exactly what it was. I didn't have to get an ankle monitor or anything like that. It was just that I was having to be put on a payment plan, and I was going to be monitored and making payments per month until my ticket was completely paid off. So I was like, oh, okay. So basically, I just had to be monitored the entire time. I pay off my ticket like maybe 3 or 4 months later, because I think it was like one something every month, maybe like $150 or something like that. So I pay off my ticket, okay? Next thing you know, we moved to Atlanta the beginning part of September of 2013. We only had one car at that time. So I was on my way to go pick my husband up from work, and I had our son in the car with us. So everything was all good. I mean, everything was all good. So we're on our way home after I picked my husband up from work. We are like 10 minutes away from our apartments where we lived at. Next thing you know, I see a policeman behind me. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, normally I don't get scared when policemen get behind me. I just don't, because I'm like, well, I know I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not speeding, so I don't get scared when policemen get behind me. If you're gonna run my tab, but you're not gonna find nothing. But on this particular day, he got behind me, y'all. He put on his lights and he pulled me over. So I'm like, why is this man pulling me over? So my husband's like, I don't know. So my husband's like, just pull over and just, be calm or whatever. So I pulled over. The policeman, it was only one policeman. Very nice and friendly. He got to the car. He was like, ma'am, you have a, I think it was a brake light out. He said, ma'am, you have a brake light out. And I said, oh, really? Because I had no idea. Because, of course, you don't know if you have brake lights out, if it just so happened to go out and you're not going to, like, the dealership to get, like, an oil change so they can tell you. So I had no idea I had a brake light that was out, and nobody told me. Sometimes you'll get people on the road that will tell you, hey, ma'am, you got a brake light out. But he didn't. That didn't happen. So he was like, yeah, I pulled you over because your brake light was out. So he asked me for my driver license. So I was like, sure. So I gave him my driver license. Then after about 10 to 12 minutes, he comes back to the car. And hold on, y'all, I'm looking for my tape. He comes back to the car and he's like, ma'am, can you step out the vehicle? I was like, excuse me? He was like, ma'am, can you step out the vehicle? So I stepped out of the car. And as he's asking me to step out the car, he's looking in the car and he sees our son in the back seat. My son at that time was only, let me see. He was only about 7 or 8 years old. I'll say 7 years old. So he asked me to step out of the car, so of course I did. And I'm sitting here on the side of the road as cars are flying past and they're looking, and I was so embarrassed. I had on a dress and I left the house to go pick up my husband. I wasn't like looking crazy or nothing, but I just had on a dress. And so he asked me to stand behind the car so I wouldn't be on the side of the road. So I'm like, okay. So I'm standing there and he said, ma'am, do you know your license is suspended? I said, sir, my license isn't suspended. He said, yes, ma'am, it is. I said, sir, no, it isn't. He said, ma'am, your license is suspended. So I'm like, but how? And so he couldn't tell me the reason why. He said I needed to follow up with the court or with whatever place it was. So, y'all, I had no idea that my license was suspended. Okay, so basically what happened before we moved to Atlanta, we were traveling back and forth from Savannah to Atlanta looking for apartments. So this whole time I'm traveling and renting cars, traveling from Savannah to Atlanta. I'm renting cars, I'm driving from Savannah to Atlanta in this traffic, whatnot, never got pulled over, never had anything happen to me. So I'm thinking everything is all good. I paid my ticket that I had got. And so then when the policeman tells me that my license was suspended, I am like freaking out because I'm like, I said, what happened? Like, why would my license be suspended? I paid my license to be renewed every 3 to 4 years or however many years. So he told me to follow up. So he said, and ma'am, I'm not going to take you to jail because you have your husband in the car with you as well as your son. He said the main reason why I'm not going to take you to jail is because I see you have your son in the back seat. And he was such a nice policeman. When he got my driver's license, he asked us, did we just move to Atlanta? And I told him, yeah. And he said that I needed to get my license changed because I still had my Savannah address on there. But it had only been like almost a month since we had been living in Atlanta. So he told me that he was getting ready to transfer to Savannah for another job position with the police force. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So another policeman pulled up, and as I was talking to the one who pulled me over, this other guy who pulled up was so mean and nasty. He told me in front of the policeman that if he would have pulled me over, he would have taken me to jail. And I looked at him and I just had a look like, excuse me? But I am so thankful that the guy did not take me to jail. And he said, that, like I said, the reason why he didn't take me to jail was because my husband was in the car and he couldn't get into the driver's seat to drive me home. He told me not to drive until I get everything situated. So the next day, I called to see why my license was suspended. Y'all, have you ever heard of a super speeder ticket? Okay, so when I first got pulled over in Camden County, and I went to court in Camden County, they told me about the super speeder ticket, but I guess I was so focused on paying off the regular speeding ticket that I had gotten from the policeman that I forgot all about the super speeder ticket. And so then that is why my license was suspended, because I did not pay the super speeder ticket. But I had no idea. I forgot all about it. So I was like, oh my God. So I could not drive for 2 weeks because the super speeder ticket was $500. Then I had to pay on top of that a fee to get it reinstated, which was another like $150. So I could not drive for probably 2.5 to 3 weeks. My husband had to drop me off to work and pick me up. And that was like, I hate being dropped off to work. See, this is the first gift that's gonna go under the Christmas tree. And it's for my husband. But yeah, he had to drop me off and he had to pick me back up for like 3 weeks straight. So, you know, I was so scared. I was so nervous because first of all, I ain't never been to jail before. Second of all, I've never gotten a super speeder ticket before, so I just was clueless as to like what was going on. But y'all, I was so scared and nervous about this whole thing because I did not want to go to jail. I just didn't want that to be on my record because for me, I can't afford to have stuff like that on my record. But I was so thankful that the policeman that pulled me over was so nice and friendly and decided to not take me to jail because he found it in his heart to show compassion and grace and mercy. Because y'all, I was out there crying while I was standing behind the car on the side of the road because, like I said, I've never been to jail before and I just did not want to go to jail. So I was so thankful that that policeman was the one that pulled me over that day, and I was so thankful that it wasn't the other one who pulled me over because it could have been the other way around and I could have gotten handcuffed and been taken to jail. And y'all, my mug shot wouldn't have been pretty at all. So I was just so thankful. But I think about that all the time because like I use the words compassion and grace and mercy because, you know, a lot of times we don't show compassion towards one another. If somebody does you wrong, you have to forgive them. You don't have to forget about it, but you have to forgive them. But y'all, I just wanted to come on and share that with you guys. I am just about finished wrapping up what I'm going to wrap up today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed Vlogmas Day 23. And make sure to hit that subscribe button below. And also give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this story time. And let me know if you had anything like that ever happen to you when you had some kind of ticket and you didn't know anything about it until you were pulled over and notified by the policeman or by the courts. Let me know, you know, if you had anything like that happen to you before. Because I know for me, I was so scared. But yes, so this box is so cute, y'all. Super cute. But yeah, so let me know in the comments below if you had a super speeder ticket and you didn't know anything about it, or if you just got pulled over in Camden County, wherever. But yeah, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Story time, rap with me. Make sure to hit that subscribe button below. Give me a thumbs up. And I will see you tomorrow in day 24 of Vlogmas. Bye.